Outside the Box Reviews, we're taking a look at the NECA Dark Horse Tribute Predator figure. And this is the Predator figure right off the cover of the initial Dark Horse Predator comic. The comic that kind of inspired Predator 2. It's a repaint of the Jungle Hunter figure, so nothing we haven't seen sculpt-wise before, but he does come with a cool new accessory in his staff and a crazy freaking paint scheme. This is the kind of thing I normally don't pick up from NECA. I have avoided the video game line because it is strictly, at this point, repaints of figures they've already done in a video game style. I prefer the more movie or comic accurate pieces. And while the Predator doesn't even really look like this once you get into the pages of the comic, I thought this was a very, very cool tribute to a very cool comic book. So I really wanted to pick it up and review it. And what's really cool as an accessory, it comes with the comic that inspired this look. So we have the mini version of the comic, at least. It's a very tiny little piece, but it's issue 1 of Predator from Dark Horse. And we can see the Predator we have in figure form in his full stylized glory here on the cover. So that's really, really cool. And it's the full comic book inside, having all the pages from the first issue. And we can see here what the Predator actually looked like, which basically is just the Jungle Hunter redone, so really no real reason to give us this exact version of the Predator anyway. And my favorite part is flipping to the back. Just like comic books, you have ads, but of course they're for NECA figures. We have the new Alien, the new Predator figures, and some other really cool stuff. So I really love the fact that it has this mini comic. I'm gonna have fun revisiting this comic because I haven't read it in quite a while, to be honest. So definitely a nice little add-on to the set. We also get his Plasma Caster backpack here, looking very American with its red, white, and blue paint scheme. But it's same sculpt we've gotten a million times before, done in some very, very vibrant comic booky colors. And it's definitely interesting looking. This is not something I could really pick out being on the Predator on the cover of the book, so I might not put this on the Predator when I display him, but of course it's cool to have it. I would probably make some snide comment if it hadn't come with this piece, so it's good to see it here. And of course we do have the hinge at the base of the gun, as well as the ball joint here at the top. And then the new piece with this set, we get the Predator's staff from the cover of the book, and this is very, very cool looking. We've got a skull up there at the top with the spine wrapping down around it, got bones kind of tied off to it. It looks like a scalp flying off the back here, tassels hanging on the side, more bones just through it, some claws. A very, very cool looking staff. The front is painted more realistically, and then we flip it around to the back and we have a nice red sheen to it, very comic booky as well, or it could just be bloody as all hell. The Predator himself, a straight up repaint of the Jungle Hunter, but the colors are very, very striking here. Every bit of it is very, very bold and definitely reminds you of a comic book cover. We do have the blue front to the mask with these white highlights painted on, even black recessed areas giving it some depth, and the whole back of the entire head and rest of the figure, honestly, is a bright red, matching the background of the comic. But we do have all the same detail, the nice long dreads, which are actually really stiff on here. I believe one of the Kenner Predators had this problem recently too, where I think it was the same red paint made it very, very stiff. So something to watch out for, I guess. But the red armor on the back, the red butt flap, though this I wish I would have gone a little more crazy with, because on the cover it does show a much longer piece. It would have been cool if they would have done something a bit different here, but kind of not surprised they didn't. But on the front, he does have the bones that the original Jungle Hunter had, the necklace, and the 2 trophies coming down, painted, of course, to match that comic style. Blue armor coming up here on the shoulder. I really like this blue. The blue's a very nice, vibrant shade, and they mixed in the blacks and whites with it really nicely. The chest is more of a realistic color to the Predator, but it does have a very comic booky vibe. The netting is some of the best painted netting I've seen in a NECA Predator in quite a while, so that's very impressive. When you're going to do a deluxe figure like this, I do appreciate that the paint is on point. His wrist blade, which is extendable just like the others, so it will go in and retract. It's a nice gray plastic looking like the cover of the book. We have an open hand here on his right side, and the gripping hand for the spear on his left. Loincloth, more bright blue armor going down his legs, and then his feet just look crazy to me. All the different colors mixed in there. Really nuts looking. This actually reminds me a bit of when NECA did the Ninja Turtle comic style figures, back when they had the rights to do those. I believe there was another line they did recently where they really emphasized heavy black lines to really give it this cartoony look, and I really like that style being brought into a 3D medium. For articulation, we of course have a ball joint at the neck. We can swivel, move side to side, hindered of course by those very, very rigid dreadlocks, and will tilt side to side as well. Pin socket shoulders, so they'll go out as well as forward and back. A little limited by the armor on either side, but it does move out. We have a swivel at the elbow as well as a bend, and all the joints in this figure are very, very tight. I feel like they'll loosen up a bit over time, but they're not going to become floppy. We have a ball joint at the wrist, once again super, super tight, but you do get a good range of motion there. Got a swivel cut at the waist. Pin socket legs will go forward and back and out to the side, not hindered at all because it's rubberized material around the crotch. We'll swivel at the upper leg. We have a double joint there at the knee and a ball joint at the foot. And for comparison, here's our new Dark Horse Predator alongside the other NECA Dark Horse releases. On the left, we have the Enforcer, and on the right, the Bad Blood Predator. And while the paint job on the Enforcer looks like it's something that could show up in a movie, the Bad Blood and this Predator kind of feel like they do belong in that same universe together. While it's much more understated on the Bad Blood, he does have some of these crazy comic book flares to his paint job, and I think they actually kind of fit in together. This new Predator is definitely a unique piece, and definitely doesn't match anything else in the line previously, but it's kind of cool that NECA's going down the Dark Horse path, and I really do hope they do more Dark Horse inspired figures. I'm really liking this little subline to Predators. And to reiterate what I said a second ago, I really dig this Predator. I like what it represents. I don't want a ton of these. I'm glad Dark Horse waves aren't coming out with the regularity of the Kenner tribute lines. I'm glad this isn't even in a wave. This is just its own separate deluxe figure release, similar to the video game figures. And if that's how they want to put out these Dark Horse Predators, just one at a time, maybe every few months, twice a year, or something like that, I will be totally on board with it. I'm glad that the actual Predator line proper seems to be heading back towards doing more movie-inspired figures. As much as a lot of people don't like AVP, I'm glad to finally get updated versions of those in my collection. But Dark Horse is a nice detour, and the possibility of new ones we could get down the line are fantastic. Dark Horse did a great selection of random Predators. I'd love to get some of the Alien vs. Predator figures, and even in that same vein, I'd love to get the Machiko, or whatever her name was, the human that becomes a Predator. That would definitely be a great addition. Hot Toys did it. I feel like NECA needs to get on board with that one too. So definitely recommend for the Dark Horse Predator here. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also follow me on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been the Outside the Box Reviews, and Predator Week continues next.